And we are live once again. Hello and welcome to the Prince Magnum channel, where hot rodding and romance do coexist. I'm your host, Prince Magnum. Welcome to Do It Yourself Budget Hot Rodding. All right. Some of you are probably wondering, what is this all about, Prince Magnum? What's this live stream about? Well, we're going to get down to brass tacks here in just a moment. First things first, like the hat, custom done at while I was at Country Days. As a matter of fact, give me just a second. If you all want your own custom hat like this, let me tell you who did it. It was done by basically airbrushing by Mike, airbrushing artist. He took care of me on this, and you can place an order with him. The phone number is 573. Number is 431 1190. I'll leave this in the description below. Um, After the live stream, I'll go in and edit that description and leave that information for all of you. So you too can have your own custom made hat. Maybe you might want to get one with the Punisher on it. But anyhow, onward and upward. Basically, I was getting ready to come home today from work. I actually had to stop and pay a bill real quick, and then I was going to be coming home. And I pushed in Spirit's clutch, engaged, threw up into first, took off. Uh, got just got pretty much parallel with White Castle and on Karsh, pushed in the clutch to go to second, and that pedal hit the floor, and I knew her clutch linkage had broke. I wasn't sure if it was a spring that came loose or something like that, but I knew something was wrong with that clutch pedal. And uh, so I knew I was gonna. It's like, oh man, this is bad. This is bad. And I limped it over to Farmington Walmart, called Princess Faye. She, came out and her sister flipped the bill for a tow truck, and we had her taken to Bonterre Auto. And they had just seen her a couple days ago for a new bushing for that clutch linkage, and now the rod that runs through the Z bar snapped. Now they're probably going to have to weld it, and it'll probably last a little while. But we're gonna, we're down to that point where we're just kind of patching it back together. Every time you turn around, it's that clutch linkage that's throwing me a problem, and it's starting to nickel and dime me. Um, there are options available. Okay, there are tons of options available for fixing this problem. And one of the options is to go ahead and find. I think they found a clutch linkage kit, replaces everything, and it cost me about $100, and it probably take them maybe an hour to put it in. So it just be I would come in at just under $200 getting it replaced, and it'd probably be good for another 7 years. But we'd be right back to square one in 7 years. And there's an excellent chance in 7 years those parts aren't going to be available. Another option is to go ahead and go full custom bell housing from like Lakewood with their clutch linkage and everything else, and do all of that, go after strict aftermarket. But now we're talking about $600 for a transmission that's 50 years old. This is an option, and it definitely would get Spirit many years, but it would be the same dang thing. Eventually I would have to replace that three-speed, the three-speed that's in her, because it's 50 years old now. I might get, I might get, quite a few years out of it. I may not, so that's, it may come down to where I really would like to have a four-speed manual in her, but we're talking a lot of money for that sort of stuff, guys. We're talking an awful lot of money. So the most viable option in this case is I may have to take and turn Spirit into an automatic car. Put a three-speed automatic in her, which, believe it or not, the C4 three-speed automatics are still plentiful. Thank goodness for that. Um, thank goodness that they're still out there. There's still tons of them. I mean, Ford made a million of these, millions of these things, and they're still out there, and they're easily able to get parts for. They're easily able to be rebuilt. Um, you can do all sorts of stuff with a C4 automatic. Now, again, for the record, I would rather keep Project Spirit as a standard, as a standard car. I'd prefer a four, a four on the floor myself. Having a three on the floor isn't bad, but a four on the floor would be even better. But the thing of it is that we are at that stage where I'm going to have to consider, going to, and these are some of the things that, when you have a project car, you may have to, to keep that project car on the road and enjoying her and doing the things that you like, you may have to settle for something that you may not necessarily be happy with, but in order to keep her that way, I sat down and ran the figures myself. I can get a running C4 automatic from a scrapyard. That might last me a couple of years, but I can get it rebuilt, shift improvement kit, all that stuff, and basically do it in piecemeal over time and put all the stuff, the bells and the whistles that I think that Project Spirit should have as an automatic car, and do it for half the price that it would take to keep her a standard transmission. These are one of the downfalls of standard transmissions, your manual transmissions. It sucks. I don't like it. I want to keep her a standard car because that would be cooler, you know, but I have to think of the long run. If I can do something cheaper and still keep her, drivable and make her, keep her this awesome ride and all this other stuff, I've got to look at the bigger picture, folks. So yes, I know some of you are like, oh, Prince Magnum, please don't, change her up from a standard transmission. Um, I'm kind of in the quandary that I really, don't mind me, I'm fiddle farting with the camera. Uh, I'm in that quandary that, I mean, in the long run, it's just going to be easier for me to turn her over into an automatic. Um, I'm going to say it like this: if you're going from making a car, taking her from an automatic to a standard, believe it or not, that is a pain in the neck. But going from a manual to an automatic, that's actually really easy. That's actually ridiculously easy. As a matter of fact, a lot of the stuff that it'll take to turn her over to an automatic, I could probably pick up from a junkyard next to nothing. I mean, that's the honest to goodness truth. And she'll run fine. I mean, I'll be able to run her for many years like that. And I can even go so far as putting like a transmission cooler on her, remote transmission filter, run, uh, run all sorts of neat little, like a B&M shift improvement kit, the Hurst shifter, and all that. I can even go so far as putting a trans brake in her and all this ridiculous stuff. And I can make her run just as good as she had an automatic. It's just one of those things that we are at the quandary where I'm basically sitting there going, I'm going to have to consider other options, okay? Because we can't keep doing this. I mean, you guys want to see her go sideways. You want to see her do this. You want to see her do. I can't do it that way, okay? I've got to look at the bigger picture. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's cool when you're sitting at a stoplight, someone, hey, waves at you and everything. And you can, and you wave back, and then they see you put it in gear, and they're like, "Oh man, he's got the manual, he's got a manual in it." That's really awesome. Automatics, dime a dozen. Um, and I really hate to do that, but again, we're at that point where I've got to look at the bigger picture. Now, that doesn't mean that down the road I can't change her over. It's just that right now I've got to look at that big picture. So it's it's one of those things. I've got a couple inquiries in at a couple of scrap yards for automatics, and and down here I don't know what it would be like for anyone who watches the playback. Depending on where you live, automatics might vary in price, but down where I live here in St. Francis County, you can get an automatic, like a C4 automatic, anywhere from like 350 to about 500 bucks. And, within a couple paychecks, I would have that and would be already looking at a shifter with the linkage and everything. And all total, like I said, I mean, I could have her, changed over in like in a month and a half and have no problems with her whatsoever for the next, ever. Automatics are easy to take care of. Then again, so are standards. They're most of y'all don't realize how easy it is to take care of this stuff. It really is, and I would still be able to work on her myself. But that's just one of those things. I mean, again, I really don't want to do this, but I've kind of got to do this, you know. So in the meantime, while we're doing all of this, and of course, Spirit's getting tinkered with, so she'll be back on the road like Monday afternoon, you know. Um, Pretty much in a nutshell, Spirit, it's one of those things. Right now, you all get to watch me now have to go into looking at transmission options. Okay, we tried to keep her standard, and I'm sorry, folks, it's just one of those things. I mean, I've got to look at the bigger picture, and I think a lot of you out there understand where I'm coming from. So I'm not going to eat up too much time for this live stream because a lot of people really haven't jumped on, but that's okay. Uh, I will say if I do take her into turning her into an automatic, I will definitely make uh, do a lot of add-ons, and you all will get to see those add-ons, and you'll get to see where you can take an automatic and make them as good as the standard transmissions, and you'll be able to do it on a budget. So we will make this a thing, okay? It's gonna be fun, folks. It's gonna be freaking cool, okay? Again, do it yourself budget hot rodding. All this stuff, I mean, we could do without taking her to a shop. And not to say that there's anything wrong with that, but you'll get to see where you can, kind of go back and forth between them. And it may not happen right that second, but Spirit will stay Hearst equipped, okay? I don't think you all understand. I like the Hearst shifters. And if at all possible, I would like to actually put Hearst wheels on her. Anything Hearst I can get my hands on, I will keep her equipped as a Hearst car just because I love I like having that old school Hearst equipped vehicle. Um, my boy from BST4 channel, he'll tell you, oh yeah, that guy Prince Magnum, he loves the old school hot rodding. He does a lot of the newer stuff. And my boy on from Cadillac Kid Productions, he does a lot of mix match. He does a lot of interesting stuff, and he kind of keeps you on your toes because you really have no idea where he's going. Where he's going. I mean, he's the kind of guy that would, you know, um, buy a car out of a scrapyard, get it legal, get it to where it's legal, and just go out and hoon. I mean, that's just his style. Um, you know, that's his style. And if you like that, definitely check his channel out. BST Ford, he does a lot of newer stuff. Me, it's all about the old school. That's the type of hot rodding I grew up, and that's the type of hot rodding I'm going to do. And as long as I can keep doing it, I'm going to do it. That's just it. I mean, if you seen something that said, hijacker air shocks on Project Spirit, you're like, well, that figures. If you seen, putting the 5 slot aluminum magsters or or aluminum slots or something like that on Project Spirit, you'd be like, that figures. If you seen something like, well, we're going to put her on an airbag suspension, you'd be like, that doesn't make sense, Prince Magnum. That's not your style. Uh, that's just the type of, when you see do-it-yourself budget hot rodding, you're going to see a lot of retro hot rodding. And that's the way it should be. Most people do a lot of new stuff to these cars, and I mean, it's cool, but it's not me, okay? Give me a standard transmission with external linkage. Uh, give me a carbureted engine, and you have my attention. Uh, you know, when all the kids are talking about turbos, give me an 871 blower, and you have with a with dual quad carburetors on it, and I'm right there with you. You talk about, if you talk about, that um, that you put in a 6-speed a 6-speed manual. Everybody does that stupid crap. 5-speed, they still do that stupid crap. You talk about converting your car from an automatic to a 4 on the floor, you've got my attention. You know, I love that old school stuff. And I mean, that's just what gets me, gets the blood pumping for me. And I don't know anybody out there that every time you don't see Project Spirit doing something, you see her blazing down the road. Down here, I mean, they see her going down the road, and everyone's like, yeah, that's the coolest car ever. And of course, unfortunately, they seen her on the back of the tow truck, and they're like, oh, I can guarantee tomorrow, everybody and their brother is going to be like, oh my God, is she okay? Is she okay? Yeah, she'll be fine. She'll be fine. But as I said, I don't want to eat up too much time. Um, right now, it's just a matter of starting to continue to look at options. Um, I know they're gonna, I know Bonterra Auto found the clutch kit and everything, and like I said, it'll come in probably just under 200. It'll be no big deal. It's just one of those things we're gonna have to do it to tide her over. But I know at some point I'm gonna have to just go ahead and say it's time. It's time to go ahead and look at other transmission options. I don't like my options. I don't like the option that I'm going to have to go with, but it's just the way it is. And sometimes you have to do these things. Doesn't mean that I won't come up with something cool to make her into an awesome ride. It just means that I'm going to have to think outside. I'm going to have to think old school. Okay. Oh, now I just had one log on, so now I got to stick on here a little bit longer for him. Uh, you know, that's just one of those things. Project Spirit, just because things like this break does not mean she's not reliable. It just means that right now she's old, okay? And let me say up front, okay? And a lot of people tend to fall for this. Every vehicle, I don't care how old, how new, every people are talking about the new automatics are supposed to be more fuel efficient than the standard transmissions that. Sorry about that, folks. Princess Faye called. And if you know Princess Faye, and you know me, she worries about me regularly. I'm notorious for like getting myself into mischief. So if I don't answer that phone when she calls, she'll swear to God that I've set myself on fire. The building has blown up and collapsed on top of me. I'm sorry. It's just how it is. And she knows I get into trouble anyways. But anyhow, onward and upward. Uh, Again, if you're just, you know, if you will, Project Spirit, she's a great car. It's just one of those things that we're at that quandary. Um, where was I? Oh, God. You know what? I think I probably said all that needed to be said. Really. It's just right now we're at that stage where, we're going to have to make some changes. I'm not happy about a lot of these changes, but I know we're going to have to do it. Okay. And the clock is ticking because Project Spirit's presence has been requested on the 4th of July all the way in Jackson, Missouri. Her presence has been requested at a car show. Um, I want her to be there. She needs to be there, but it's just one of those things. But anyhow, before I eat up too much more time, like I said, I think I said what needed to be said. Uh, so we're just going to go ahead. If you want to help out the work with Project Spirit, check out my Patreon account. There's plenty of ways to donate money. Um, and if you basically become a monthly subscriber to that Patreon account and donate a regular amount, you have become a member of the High Mileage Club for the Prince Magnum channel, a special club for you. And who knows what may be put in. Um, as the channel progresses, we'll be able to do more based on that. Okay. But the other thing that we'll be doing is basically between now and August the 7th, whoever's able to donate the most money to the Prince Magnum channel will get a special care package. Some things that, you know, some really awesome stuff from the channel that I have collected between now and then. I can tell you that right now there is a pocket-size book from Alcoholics Anonymous, what we call the Big Book, that I will be autographing and putting a special message in there Um, there's some stickers in there from some car shows. Who knows what may be in there? Um, who knows? I, I know I'm going to include as much as I possibly can in there to make it worth your while. Because the goal of the Prince Magnum channel right now is to reach $1,000, which would allow me to get all sorts of stuff done to Project Spirit. So that's what that's all about. You're welcome to follow me on Twitter. You're welcome to follow me on Facebook. I'm still working out that convoluted mess on my Facebook account. So if you have already tried to friend me on Facebook, I'm still working out that mess and I do apologize. Just give me some time because that is a disaster, an absolute disaster. Um, Also, if you're not subscribed to the Prince Magnum channel, now is definitely the time. Through this summer, you are going to see a lot of stuff happen here on the Prince Magnum channel. Surviving Romance, you're going to see more stuff on do-it-yourself budget hot rodding, and we're going to do a lot more stuff to Project Lena. Uh, there's also a special surprise that will be coming about here throughout this summer. We're looking at an engine swap. I think we're going to go ahead and push her to the 44-year marker. So this winter, Project Spirit will be receiving a different engine. It's one that you all have seen before. I won't say any more from there. It's just that I think that almost gives it away. But I will say that she's going to be getting an engine that you all have seen before, and it's a special one. And then Project Spirit, through the rest of the winter months, we're going to start assembling the parts and we're going to look at doing a full-on rebuild to her old engine. Her old engine will come back in the springtime and be bigger, badder than ever before. An inline six with old school hot rodding. I mean, it's going to be awesome. And, that old school hot rodding that most people have forgotten about. We're definitely going to go full on there. So by next year, Project Spirit will be bigger, badder than ever before. Okay, a 70s style compact car with old school hot rodding. I mean, you can't ask for much more than that. We're gonna see In Your Face take a sweet turn this year. The mini movie documentary coming out. That's gonna just blow the minds of everyone here in Missouri. Also, the Prince Magnum channel is going to be getting involved with a political movement with some politicians that are actually involved, all the way up to the U.S. Senate, well, U.S. Congress. The Prince Magnum channel is definitely getting involved there about getting more and more focused on bringing back the actual U.S. Constitution. We are definitely getting involved there. We're sick and tired of having our rights taken away. Big Brother is about to take a nosedive. It stops. The Prince Magnum channel is going to be at the front lines, if you will, doing what it does best. On top of that, we will see very soon where Prince Magnum will be declaring my Native American citizenship. That information will be here by the end of the month of June. It's going to be huge. The hits are going to be coming. You all get to, when you subscribe and hit that bell icon, you will be at the front lines with me, seeing as it happens, seeing it unfold right before your eyes, seeing freedom, hot rodding, romance. We're even going to be taking trips back into our past to the 1970s and the 80s. Looking at things that I grew up with, so all of you young people will have a deeper understanding of what it was like growing up back then. So it's going to be huge. It's going to be awesome. So if you're not subscribed, you're going to miss out. Just saying. Just saying. All right. So that brings us to the spot that I know y'all are familiar with. Be sure, again, hit the bell icon. Check me out on all the usual social media. And get out there and work on a project. Don't care what it is. Just do something with yourself. If you have a sweetheart, sweep them off their feet. Do something special for them today. And as always, no matter where you're at, no matter what's going on in your life, if no one out there has told you that they love you, Prince Magnum does. God bless you. and have a happy 24. Thank you.